This is the Theodore Payne Foundation for Wildflowers and Native Plants. We've been here for 52 years in this gorgeous setting on 22 acres in Latuna Canyon near Los Angeles. And we sell native plants year-round, about 800 species or so, and cultivars. And then we also give classes and field trips for adults and kids. This plant is a Sphaerosia ambigua that is known as an apricot mallow for the common name. And this is a wonderful plant because not only does it have gorgeous apricot flowers for which it's named, but it is also the host plant. That means the plant whose leaves feed the caterpillars of gray hair streak and West Coast ladies. And so not only do you get the nectar for the butterflies, but then you get the leaf food for the butterflies, whose caterpillars can only eat this and a few other types of leaves. So when you plant one of these in your garden, you're attracting not only the insects that need the pollen, but you are giving a place for those butterflies to lay their eggs. This is Encilia californica, the bush sunflower. And this is the host plant. That means the food plant for the caterpillars of the fatal meadowlark type of butterfly. And once again, because these are a round landing pad shape for butterflies, they're great for any type of butterfly. But the fatal meadowlark's caterpillars can only eat the leaves of this plant and one other. So this plant is a native verbena, once again with the wonderful landing pad flowers. It blooms nearly year-round. Then once the flowers have been pollinated, they make these long seed heads, and then the birds perch on here and eat the seeds off the stem. So this is a great plant to feed all kinds of wildlife, not just the butterflies. And so once again, look at this fabulous hole in the leaf. It means that a California sister, its caterpillar, was here eating away. Now, caterpillars are important not only because they turn into butterflies, which are pollinators, but because caterpillars are the main food of baby birds. So that's why it's important not only to plant the host plant for the caterpillar so that we can have more butterflies, which are pollinators, but because we need those caterpillars to feed our birds. Bird populations are only 10 to 40% nowadays of what they were in 1970. And that's because we've lost so many of our native plants that feed the caterpillars that then feed other things on up the food web. So if people have natives, those native plants will produce 35 times more caterpillars than the non-native plants. And this is hugely important because it takes between 450 and 600 caterpillars for one clutch of 4 baby birds to go from egg when they hatch to fledging the nest about 17 days later. So say on average 525 caterpillars to feed 4 baby birds for 17 days. That's why you need natives, because they'll give us the caterpillars to feed those baby birds. And birds are hugely important because they give us all sorts of ecosystem types of services like reforestation, watershed protection, natural pest control, no need for pesticides. And it's all for free, and they give it to us with beauty and song.
So in California we have 14 different native species of milkweed, and most people are familiar with monarch butterflies, but what a lot of people aren't aware of is that their caterpillars can only feed on the milkweed plant. So it's a very important plant to have in a butterfly garden, especially in California where we have the western population of monarchs that migrate through here. Many people are familiar with the non-native milkweed, which is a tropical milkweed from Mexico. It's an evergreen milkweed, and it's not necessarily the best one for our population since it's not native to our region. So we really encourage people to plant either the narrow-leaf milkweed, which is the one that's native to our local area in the Los Angeles basin. Well, all insects have evolved with their food sources, and that includes plants that are local to a region which have local adaptations, and the insects therefore have their own local adaptations as well. And it's important also to plant things in your garden that don't require heavy use, if any use, of pesticides. And we don't treat our milkweed plants with anything because we know that they're going to people who want to raise monarch caterpillars. So we're very careful about how we grow our plants. And the more locally native plants you have, the more adapted they are to the climate, the pests, and whatnot.
What I hope this event accomplishes is that people come to appreciate that in Southern California there are over 90 species of butterflies, and most of those caterpillars of those butterflies can only eat a few types of specific native plants. And so if you want to plant a butterfly garden, plant the nectar plants for the butterfly, and then also find out what the leaf food is for the caterpillar. And I hope that every person that goes home with one of the 4-inch plants that the event is providing will then talk to 10 people and tell them about their butterfly garden, how it's providing the leaf food for the caterpillar and the nectar plant for the adult. And we have to, by word of mouth, bring the butterflies back to Southern California. When butterflies need to land to get the nectar, they need a place to put all 6 of their legs. And so any round flower is going to be a particularly good flower for a butterfly or a moth.